Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Due to online teaching, we are going to do a fire starting lesson from my backyard. I've got Arlo hanging out down here, working on a bone. So today, my goal is to just kind of demonstrate some of the basic techniques to starting a fire, some of the things that we're going to do when we get back into the classroom and out into Coronation Park. I'll show you some of the techniques that I use. I'm by no means like an expert. However, starting a fire, I believe, is one of those essential skills to have in life, and it can impress your friends when you go out camping, when you go out on a backpacking trip. So I'm going to show you some different techniques you can use and some different fire starters that you can put together in your own home. So let's get started. Let's talk fire starters. So basic things that you could put together from your own house. This stuff, like these flyers that no one ever reads or uses, are amazing for starting fires. So I always keep like a bunch of these kind of nearby. I try and keep them in a bag in the garage, somewhere where you can keep them handy, bunch up in a pinch. But some fire starters that you can put together really easily. One, if you guys get from the dollar store, these little tea lights. So let's say you're putting together a little fire starter kit. Keep a couple of these inside. They burn forever. It'll burn long enough to hopefully dry out the wood. If you have charcoal from a previous fire, I just throw some in a little egg carton here. You light this as well will go forever. And you can use this just at the bottom of your fire to kind of keep it going. Okay, I have 3 egg carton containers here that I have just cut up. And what I've done is I've put some dryer lint from the laundry inside, and I've just stuffed them in. So what you can do, one of the most common ones is get any kind of cheap candle. Okay, we're just gonna melt the candle wax into the dryer lint. We'll see if my candle stays lit. There we go. So now we're getting some drips. So anyway, you just melt your candle and drip your candle wax all throughout and kind of coating the dryer lint. This stuff is very flammable. Another way, grab a thing of petroleum jelly or Vaseline. You just take a gob of this. Because I am so smart, I didn't grab anything to get the gob out, so I'm just gonna use my finger. Take a big chunk, put it and mix it in with the dryer lint inside your egg carton. That thing will go up no problem. Last but not least, it's COVID. Everybody has hand sanitizer. This stuff is extremely flammable. You want to make sure the higher the alcohol content, the more flammable it's going to be. Just squirt a whole bunch in there until the entire dryer lint is basically soaked. We have DIY fire starters. Put these into a coffee canister that is empty. You can keep a little fire starter kit with you, put it with your camping gear, put it with your outdoor gear. You're ready to go. Okay, so I want to talk about knives. We have a bunch of different knives at school that are a little different than this, but this is the knife that I'm going to be using. It's a simple buck knife that you can get from Canadian Tire or Home Depot. So it's a folding knife like such, okay? It locks in place once you've opened it. There's a little mechanism here that you can use to close it. So just like the PowerPoint that we were just going through, a few things you need to consider when you have your knife. One, you never walk around, just blade pointing out. You always need to communicate to those around you so you don't accidentally stab your friend in the back when they're wandering past you. Knives are a great tool to use, but we also have to be just very responsible with them. When you are using your knife, you don't want to just leave it lying around, like on the ground sticking out where you might step on it. These are just common sense things, right? So what I do is, if I'm not using my knife, it's got a little section for your pant loop. Just throw it on into the pocket and you can walk around with it like such. I'm also going to show you guys the axe I use when I'm at home or I'm out camping. So this is an axe from Sweden. It's got a lifetime warranty on it. It's kind of in between a hatchet and an axe. It works perfect for what I'm ever doing in the outdoors. Okay, we're going to talk Tinder, not the dating app that you get no responses on. Tinder is what's going to allow our fire to catch. So this is essentially like the fire starter. One of the skills we practice in outdoor ed is by using our knife, we create what's called feather sticks. Feather sticks are essentially just a very thin wood shaving that you get enough of them balled up, and because they're so thin, they're very easily to light. In order to get a feather stick, you want to find something that has like a good corner on it. So obviously you can't really shave down the side. You have to be able to get a corner, and you're just gonna go as light as you can to get these kind of curling edges at the bottom. This is what we're looking for. So you get enough of this stuff balled up, it's gonna light your fire. Rule of thumb is to get way more than what you think you need, especially if your wood is not totally dry. If you get a good piece of wood, you can get enough of these feather sticks that just curl at the bottom, and this becomes a fantastic piece that you could use at the base of your fire. Through the magic of editing, we have a bunch of feather sticks and tinder. Okay, now let's talk kindling. In a relationship, kindling is your personality that gets the spark going. In a fire, it's usually small pieces of wood. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how you can use your knife and your small piece of wood to actually make nice pieces of kindling. So you want to get down maybe on one knee. Don't do this bent over. Okay, your knife should be sharp. You find like a good edge within a larger pieces of wood. Okay, you're just going to put it across like so, and you're going to use another smaller piece of wood to be able to basically bang down on the top of the knife edge and split this into a smaller piece. If you have a tough piece of wood like I do, you might need a bigger piece of wood to hit it with. There we go. So this is going to be kind of like our building block for our log cabin slash teepee, whatever size you choose to do. So I'm going to make a few more of these. We now have a bunch of kindling. Okay, so we are going to take my tinder. We're going to ball it up just towards the bottom here. Okay, I've kind of moved all my extra charcoal out of the way, which obviously is going to be light. But for our purposes, we need to imagine a fire pit that doesn't have a mound of charcoal. I like to use kind of a combination of log cabin and teepee. There's no right or wrong way, as long as you can get airflow into your fire. That's the most important part. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is start by building a small log cabin around my tinder. Like so. Got a few more smaller pieces of tinder here. They're a little larger than some of the other feather sticks that I made, but they're essentially still just shaving. So I'm gonna throw them kind of over top like this. I never want to completely cover anything, right? Because I want to keep lots of room for airflow. Okay, once I've got like a mini log cabin, I like to do kind of teepee. So I just do a small, like so. Okay, so once you get a few sticking up, we can add a few more. I think that should be good. So let's test it out. Let's see if our feather sticks actually work. We want to make sure there's lots of room for airflow at the bottom here. We have a small bit of wind today, but it's not too bad. We've got enough cover that I think it's actually just going to help provide oxygen for the fire. Then you gotta kind of keep an eye. You don't want to put your hand obviously directly in the flame. It's not very hot right now. We can just kind of layer some of our stuff. You have fire. You want to have your next size, your bigger pieces, or your fuel. In this case, obviously it's going to be wood, ready to go. So ideally you have a bunch more of these chopped. If you're gonna have a fire that's gonna last a few hours, you wanna have more than enough. So you always wanna cut more than what you think you will need. And at this point, I'm just gonna place these around the edges. And just like that, we've got a backyard fire. Grab some roasting sticks, some marshmallows, some hot dogs, pull up a chair, and enjoy. I hope we get to do this in June with all of you. Teaching from home. What's it? High five. Good boy. Do you want to say hi? Say hi for the camera. Do you want to tell them why you were just fighting with your neighborhood? Why were you fighting with the dog next door?